What's going on? It's Stokely from Sauce on Delay. I was just having a conversation trying to figure out how to take better care of my teeth, right? And that's the journey that I'm on the immediate basis. I'm learning a lot, learning that maybe the dentist wasn't too wrong about wanting to do a root canal, but they were dead wrong on trying to do a wisdom teeth pull. But anyhow, let's think about what we can do for ourselves, and let's think about the good stuff, right? So, just had a conversation with AI. Now, one of the bacteria that causes cavities is Streptococcus. Streptococcus feeds on sugar. Now, there's a whole bunch of different bacteria in the mouth, right? There's a whole bunch of bacteria in the mouth, okay? And I'm gonna, if I remember, I'm gonna get really weird and woo-woo at the end of this conversation. But there's also bacteria that cause your gum to recede. I was looking at my gums and I'm like, I see that line on my teeth where my gum used to be, and now I see where my gum is now. Now there's something they can do. They can do a graft on your gums by taking a piece of flesh from your palate and grafting it onto your gum and providing a little bit, which it's not going to provide additional support to your tooth, but it will more protect the root of your tooth by adding some gum to it. Now that sounds painful to me. Now I've burnt my palate before just drinking stuff or eating something hot, so maybe I could endure it. And they say the healing process only takes about 2 weeks, so that's not a bad idea. Maybe I need to do a graft on my gums, but progressively, well, I don't know. I'll look into it, but it's not something immediate that I'm worried about right now. But I was looking at some videos of people getting veneers put in, and one of the guys, he really, you could almost see the root of his teeth, the way how his gum had receded. So it kind of tripped me out. It kind of made me bug out a little bit. So I was asking Microsoft Copilot, what makes gums recede? And it was like, okay, well, there's two bacteria, and the names of the bacteria are so weird, I can't freaking pronounce those joints. I'm sorry to even use anything close to a cuss word, but I can't pronounce those words. Let me look for the words. Let me look for the name of these bacteria, see if I can find them. But what happens is that the point of the whole thing is what I wanted to know what percentage of the population has gum disease, and what percentage of the population has gum disease. And I thought it was everybody that when they brush their teeth, their gums bleed. It's only 50% of the population, really like 47% of the population that experiences that. So there's about 53% of the population that's having a wonderful time. I guess I'm jealous, right? So 53% of the population doesn't have any gum disease at all. So they're probably not gonna, I guess they're not gonna have receded gums because they don't have gum disease. But anyhow, there's two bacteria. Let me ask them again. What are the names of those bacteria again? What's the name of those bacteria? No. One is Porphyromonas gingivalis. These Greek words are tripping me up, man. Porphyromonas gingivalis. Porphyromonas gingivalis. And oh, it's telling me more than that now. Treponema denticola. No, he didn't tell me that one before. Oh my gosh, it's too many of them. It's like 5 of them. It's like 5 bacteria that 5 bacteria he's showing me now. Last time he only told me 2. Anyhow, the bacteria in your mouth, they thrive, multiply, and enjoy, and they find very bioavailable sugars. Okay? Now there's some sugars that do not aid the growth of bacteria. One of them is xylitol, which is coming into our lexicon more and more every day. Xylitol, right? Licorice also has a sweetener in it that is not a sugar that kills bacteria. So if you have a licorice chew stick, then you can use that, and that'll be very good to clean your teeth. But anyhow, the bacteria that causes cavities and the bacteria that cause gum disease, bacterias that cause gum disease, are fed by sugar and starches. So I was wondering, wait a minute, are sugars and carbohydrates the same? Are starches and carbohydrates the same? Well, that was ignorant of me, but anyhow, if I don't want to ask, I don't know, right? So, sugars and starches are types of carbohydrates. I should have known that from the name of it. If it got carbon and hydrogen in it, it's basically a carbohydrate. So anyhow, these bacteria readily eat starch and sugar. Starch is found in rice, bread, flour and stuff like that, pasta, potatoes. You remember you did the starch test in school where you dropped the iodine on the potato and it turned blue? Yeah, that's a starch. So, starches are bioavailable to these nasty bacteria. Nasty, nasty, nasty bacteria. So, gum disease is really a bunch of these nasty bacteria causing inflammation in your gum. And when you're eating candy, you're eating sweets, you're eating potatoes, you're eating all the white flour and all that yada yada, even brown rice, you are feeding those bacteria if you leave them in your mouth. You know what I mean? If they're there in your mouth, they're going to become a breeding ground for the bad bacteria in your mouth. So, that got me thinking, because those bacteria that are in your mouth, they don't just stay in your mouth. They go down the whole digestive tract. They do sometimes help to break down your food in your gut. But they can also make you sick if it's too much of it. If you get strep throat, that's streptococcus bacteria. Streptococcus bacteria is the same thing causing your cavities. So maybe a lot of times I was getting sick, it was due to my lack of proper dental care, lack of proper oral care. Anyhow, so those germs didn't just stay in my teeth, they went down to my throat. And then from my throat went to my esophagus. And then from my esophagus went into my lungs. And there you go. That's not the only thing that makes you sick, but... And this is why people in the root cause documentary said 97% of all disease starts in the mouth. Now, like I said, I still think that's hyperbole, but it's becoming more and more valid as I think about it. But anyhow, those germs don't just stay in your mouth. They go in your gut. They go all throughout your body. Right? Get into your nasal passages, get into your lungs, all that. So taking care of your mouth is very important. But that's not the angle that I was really thinking about with it. What I'm thinking is that it explains why people have such a benefit from the carnivore diet. Right? Because the bacteria in your mouth wants carbohydrates in the form of sugar or starch. So you're not having carbohydrates stuck all up in your teeth. So you're not going to feed streptococcus, and you're not going to feed polyphyromanus gingivalis, or whatever the heck its name is. You're not going to feed them either. And if you're staying away from the carbs, the sugars and the starches, you will reduce your overall sugar intake, your glycemic whatever load. I'm going to call it your glycemic load. I don't know if that's a word. But you're going to, and the fact that you're not eating so much sugar and starch, hopefully, because some people are eating the burgers and they're going carnivore, but they're still drinking the sodas, they're still eating the candies. So they're not necessarily getting the benefit of the carnivore diet. Still consuming sweets and still consuming sodas and still consuming juices like me. So with the carnivore diet, you're starving the mouth bacteria of their sugars and their starches. You're also cutting down the amount of sugar that you're intaking into your digestive system, that your liver has to convert to fat because it's an oversupply. You know, we eat too much sugar, we consume too much sugar. The liver makes its own sugar from fat. The liver makes its own sugar from fat, right? Once you cut down on that sugar intake, you're not feeding the bacteria, you're giving your pancreas a break, right? You're increasing your insulin sensitivity, right? So your whole pancreas is going to start working better. You're going to start losing weight. And even having a conversation with co-pilot last night, because since I've reduced my snacking and since I've kind of reduced my sugar intake, my face has become more gaunt and my laugh lines are more pronounced, and I'm being self-conscious about it. And what I understand now is that one of the first places you're going to lose the weight is in your face, because there's fat deposits under your skin in your face, and that's one of the first places it's going to go before it even goes in the rest of your body. So going on to a carnivore diet and not overcompensating with other carbohydrates, or not overcompensating with cutting back on the carbs, which includes sugar and starches. It's starving the bacteria, so it's cleaning up your biome, your gut biome. It's cleaning up your gut biome of the bad stuff. sugar intake, giving up rest to your pancreas, increasing your insulin sensitivity, making you lose weight. So I now can understand why the carnivore diet can be so beneficial. At the same time, sugar gives you raw energy. I mean, that's why you crash also. And cutting back on the carbs will probably make you feel a little bit tired. But there's alternative food sources that will give you the energy, and according to the conversation I had, those foods are fiber. So the fiber is still a carbohydrate, but from my understanding, it's more of a complex carbohydrate, and it will turn to sugar in your gut in a more slowly dissipated kind of way, a lower glycemic index. The fiber is going to feed your good gut bacteria also, because the good gut bacteria likes plant matter. The good gut bacteria likes plant matter. Not necessarily sugars and starches. The bad bacteria likes the sugar and the starches. The good bacteria likes cellulose and fiber and stuff like that. That's what it's there knowing how to do and work with. And the gut bacteria doesn't necessarily, handle meat very well. So it's probably best to consume a more bioavailable and easily digestible meat like fish, or get your protein sources from other places like beans. One of the staples, I guess, that came up in the discussion was quinoa. So quinoa is supposedly a source of fiber and protein. So I think I'm gonna start either implementing some quinoa. Now I'm already kind of slim. I'm kind of thin. I'm not underweight though, but I haven't been exercising and I haven't been working out, and I'm kind of looking really scrawny right now. Listen, sauce on delay is about aesthetic. Aesthetic matters. How you look matters. It matters to me. But if it's unnatural or it's outside of my capability, or if it's gonna harm me, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna engage in anything that's harmful or unsustainable or even too expensive. Anyhow, so try to do things naturally and things that are manageable. So when I go to the supermarket today, remind me I need to get some quinoa. Anyhow, yeah, so the carnivore diet can work. The science is there. The science is clear. Now, there's other factors that you're probably going to have to take into consideration, like hormones, making sure that it's cooked to the point where your body can digest it, making sure that it's cooked thoroughly so that there's no bacteria or viruses in it. And also, what I was thinking, the thing about meat, in order to allow meat to be preserved, we use spices. We use the spices from India. We use the spices from China. The garlics, the onions, the gingers, the turmeric, the thyme, the scallion, the salt even. Well, salt is from everywhere. These things are anti-inflammatory for the most part, or these things kill bacteria for the most part. Cayenne pepper. Don't bother putting the barbecue sauce on your meat, because barbecue sauce is full of sugar. I was looking at a barbecue sauce in my fridge and it had high fructose corn syrup in it. I'm like, come on, man. Every time I see high fructose corn syrup, I feel betrayed. I'm like, what are you trying to do to me right now? What are you really trying to do with me by putting high fructose corn syrup in? Why can't you use cane sugar? Anyhow, so the dressings contain sugar. I mean, you know, we all, you know, not we all, but a lot of us got a sweet tooth. And that's the reason why my tooth has a cavity. Anyhow, the spices in the meat help. The meat's lack of carbohydrates helps. You could eat the fat from the meat. That's not a problem. If the meat has fat on it, that's not going to hurt you. What was the woo-woo part that I was going to say? And I can't remember now. Oh, the woo-woo part. The woo-woo part. Here's the woo-woo part. And I'm going to hopefully close, right? The woo-woo part is during the root cause documentary that I watched about root canals, they said they did a test with rats where they took a tooth from a person who was ill. They took a tooth from a person who was ill, put it on the multiple rat skin. Even though it was sterilized, it recreated that illness in the other rats. Even though it was sterilized. You sterilize it, put it in the next one, they get the same sickness. Sterilize it, put it in another one, they get the same sickness. Here's the woo-woo part. Check this. The teeth, when you look at the teeth on the electron microscope, you see some little tubes. See a whole lot of little tubes. Like a tooth is made out of a whole bunch of microscopic tubes. And in the show they call a tooth a crystal. A crystal is basically a structure that has a monolithic, I don't know what the word I want to use. It's a structure that has the same shape repeated over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And that's how your tooth is. It's like a crystal. It has when you look at it in an electron microscope, you see those tubes. They all look identical. I mean, they are different lengths, but they're identical. They look like they have a crystalline formation because it's repeated. That's what I'm saying. Maybe I'm wrong, right? Now, the next thing. The stuff that your saliva contains called hydroxyapatite, or that the microhydroxyapatite that they have inside the Japanese toothpaste that I use, that causes a plaque on your teeth or whatever. It builds your teeth, it also makes plaque, whatever. It's the same thing that coats your pineal gland, which is known as a crystal. So, and let's go further with it. Your pineal gland controls your sleep cycle. Elderly, older people, they can't stay asleep because their pineal gland has calcified, or their pineal gland has calcified, whatever, you know what I mean? It's that's why people always say that fluoride is messing with your pineal gland. The fluoride attaches to your bones. The fluoride attaches to your teeth. The fluoride attaches to the crystals. The fluoride attaches to places where calcium goes. and your pineal gland is calcifying and causing elderly people to not sleep as well. Or if you're using fluoride all the time, it's going to get there too, because it goes into places where calcium goes. It goes into places where hydroxyapatite goes. I forgot what I want to say. But basically, the teeth are crystals. So when they sterilize that tooth and put it under one rat, that crystal vibrated at the frequency of that illness. So even though they sterilized it and they put it into another rat, it vibrated at the same frequency of that illness that that original person or whatever rat had, and affected that rat in the same way. So it is my woo-woo, crazy, made-up situation, idea, that the teeth are crystals, and they carry the spirit or the frequency of the person that they come from. That's crazy. Now, can I go weird? I'm gonna get weird again. I don't know. I'm gonna get weird. Look, and this is garbage. Now I'm gonna say you can turn it off now. If you've listened this far, thank you so much. Well, you can turn it off now, but they got some rappers, right? Maybe back during the pandemic, from 2020 up until 2026. I don't follow them too much anymore, so I don't really know. I didn't really follow them a lot anyway. But a lot of the rappers were getting into relationships with the ex-girlfriends of other rappers. Now, it could be that the ladies were pursuing them. It's possible. But even if the woman is pursuing you, you have a choice to say yes or no. I think it was the other way around. I think the gentlemen were pursuing those women intentionally, because that woman was with someone that was probably more successful than they were, or had some air of success that they wished for themselves. And what they're doing is trying to spiritually gain the success of that man by getting into Congress with a woman that was in Congress with that man. It's trying to channel the other guy's energy by using his girlfriend or his ex-girlfriend or his ex-wife as a conduit with which to capture some, not capture as in take away, but to capture that spirit that made that man successful. Sounds crazy, right? Sounds crazy, but why else were they doing it? Why else were they doing it? Why is I forgot what the guy's name is. Why there's a young lady named Sweetie, or there's all you know all their names, Glorilla's, Megan Thee Stallion, so on and so on and so forth. Any one of these popular rap females, or even the ones that didn't rap, that were just like Saweetie, I don't know how to pronounce her name. She wasn't a rapper, but she was the girlfriend of some guy, I think Yo Gotti, or she was the girlfriend of G Herbo, or whatever the case may be. Or she was the girlfriend of I forgot, Moneybag Yo, or some other guy. But these gentlemen sought out these ladies in order to gain the energy of the gentleman who she had relations with previously. This is my thing. So, just like that, the tooth is a crystal, carries the energy of the person, and that's what made those other rats sick. From the documentary, I'm understanding you can kiss somebody and those germs that cause their cavities can now jump in your mouth and encourage you to cause cavities. And people talk about, when you're talking about SCX, they talk about soul ties. They talk about spiritual STDs also. They talk about spiritual STDs. And, I'm just observing also generational things that they call generational curses. I know somebody who their father was antisocial, aggressive, a disturbed person, which resulted in his death. Then he had some children who ended up in prison associated with murders and who also became alcoholics. And then that also went towards some of the grandchildren also. Now, there's a part that's nature, there's a part that's nurture. And the nature part is the frequency part. The nature part is the crystal part. The nature part is the spiritual part. So that's a spirit. Not saying that it can't be broken, or not saying that it can be curtailed or cured by change of venue and a change of environment. But it's a factor and it's there. So that's the woo-woo part of it. But overall, I really want to say the carnivore diet, it can work as long as you're not cheating by eating carbs, simple carbs especially. You should be able to lose weight, increase your insulin sensitivity, and reduce the amount of bacteria in your body, especially if you're using anti-inflammatory spices to season the food, in my opinion. So there's a lot of different ways to do stuff, and staying away from the wrong crowd. Don't share cups with people. Don't share toothbrushes with people. Don't share spoons with people. The other day I went to my friend's 40th birthday party, and I don't drink, but I was sitting at the bar, and my friend said, "Oh yeah, make him a drink, make him a virgin drink." I said, No. You know what? Can I have some water? And can I have the water in a bottle? I want to open my own bottle of water and drink it myself. I don't want them to put it in a cup that somebody else drank off of. Right? So the bartender said, okay, we got Saratoga, but they got the Saratoga in the big bottle. So he would not give me the bottle, because the bottle, I might hit somebody with the bottle, or whatever the case may be. Or they have the Saratoga, they needed to share it to different people. So he poured it in a cup and put a lime in it. These limes are unsanitary anyway. He put the water, a lime, and put a straw in it. I turned around, I looked at it, I didn't even touch it. I did not drink it. And I'm already dealing with my own mouth bacteria. I don't want to deal with the mouth bacteria and the spiritual bacteria of everybody else's mouth that was on it. Now I'm going really bugged out now. But, hey, it is what, what can I do? My family got me my own bowl for my soup at work. I was using the bowl that was in the lunchroom. Now I have my own bowl to put my soup in at lunchtime. My own spoon. It's wonderful. And I'm not making plastic. I'm not wasting plastic spoons. I'm not putting more plastic into the environment. Got my own spoon, my own porcelain spoon, my own porcelain bowl, earthenware. That's going to be my spirit on my spoon. That's going to be my spirit on my bowl. And that's it. You know what I mean? Hey, thanks for weirding out with me. Bang.